Welcome everyone, welcome to Nostos Strength and Conditioning, the home of the new Nostos S&C podcast. The first one of many, we hope. Let's see how we go. I want to give a straight away to Nostos MMA in Somersworth, New Hampshire. Without them, there'd be no Nostos Strength and Conditioning. So if you're ever in the New Hampshire area in the States, go and check them out. And one last shout out to Devin Powell, who fights in the lightweight division of Bellator mixed martial arts. So keep an eye out for him. So I'm Tom. I own and run Nostos Strength and Conditioning. I essentially am a personal trainer. We do group training, exercise classes here. We help people achieve their fitness and lifestyle goals, strength goals, conditioning goals. Whatever goal you have, I'd like to think I could lend a helping hand for you to work towards that. We're based in Colnbrook, just near Heathrow Airport, for anyone wondering. So if you're local to the area, you can follow me on Instagram. I'd love to have you down. Any and everyone is welcome. You might know people that know of the place. Ask around. And again, I'd like to welcome any and everyone down here for a session anytime in the near future. So why am I starting this podcast? I'm starting this podcast because I'd like to branch out and reach out further and help more people. The goal of my gym and the whole environment is to help people and improve people. So I feel there's so much that goes on behind the scenes within the fitness industry. It's not all weights and sweat and burpees. There's actually a lot of mindset that goes into it, and so many conversations I have on a day-to-day basis that I have one-on-one are great for those people involved, but there's only 2 people involved. So if I can bring that to a wider audience, I feel like that can help more people, that being my goal above anything and everything. So we've got about 15 questions here that I've put out on my story on Instagram, and people have asked me these questions, so I'm going to put these out there now and answer them to the best of my ability and the most honest way I can. So bear with me. Number 1, how did you get so into the gym? It's an interesting way of putting it. So from a young age, I quite enjoyed eating food as it goes, and it didn't take me long to realize if I wanted to continue to do that, I'd have to offset it somehow with some physical activity. I'm very much into football and most sports. I must have found the gym, I suppose I was at college, maybe around 16 years old, so around 9-10 years ago now. Fell in love with the process, I suppose you could say. Just working towards goals, getting better. I worked with great people along the way. I feel like that's always helped. And it's just a bug that never left me. I started and never stopped. It's been 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week ever since. And it's been a great outlet for me personally. When things are good, bad, the gym usually was always the answer. Number 2. What other hobbies, interests do you have outside of the gym? It's a good question. As I said, I play football. Always have, as long as I can remember. I suppose that's still physical activity, though. Very interested, some people, as funny as it sounds, in sharks. Sharks absolutely fascinate me. So I love learning about them. I'd one day love to swim with them, and by swim with them, I mean get in a cage. Because they are to be respected, but they just want to be our friend. And I am currently learning the guitar. Been doing that since April. So that's just a couple of things I do outside of the gym, as well as spend time with family, friends, my fiance, of course. They're things I enjoy doing. Number 3, how do you balance work, home, and gym life? That's a tough question. I'm probably not actually the best at it, if I'm being truthfully honest. I probably prioritize work over most things. I do my best to not say no to too many people, clients, friends, family. I do my best to really please everyone, which really I should probably shy away from doing because usually never works. but I do try. I take Sundays off, and that is usually an off day. I take that to spend with, again, fiance, family, friends, which is hard to do all in one day, but I do my best. Throughout the week, it's pretty much work, Monday through Saturday, football on a Saturday afternoon. So free time is very limited, but I try to do my best to make effort for people, which I think is key. Everyone's always at the other end of the phone. It's not that hard to make effort, so you can have limited time, but your priorities are where you put them. So, I do certainly make effort to try with those people that really I feel deserve to be tried with, is the best way I can put it. Can you still lose weight and tone up if you enjoy beer? Short answer, yes, of course. We talk balanced diets and all of this. Hold on, how was that? Can you still lose weight and tone up? Tone up's a very broad statement. Some people would say toning doesn't exist. Some would say toning refers to... I could save that for another podcast, in fairness, muscle tone. I'm not going to lie. Let's just say... I'm going to ignore the toning part, and I'm going to say, can you still lose weight while enjoying a beer? Yes, you can. There is X amount of calories within a beer, depending on what one you drink. As long as that beer does not push you out of a calorie deficit, then you will still lose weight. It's the simplest answer I can give. Number 5. What are your goals for 2020? That's a good question. I had stricter goals last year. I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure why that was. Compared to this year. I mean, I'm getting married in April, so I am looking to drop a few pounds between now and April, now being January, so in the next 4 months. So that's certainly a goal. I certainly want to improve my guitar playing. That's high up on my list. Of course, above all else, just remaining happy and just trying to be a good person, doing good to others, making the business bigger and better, reach more people, help more people, and generally just try and keep improving, accepting that it won't always go well, but trying my best to deal with those situations and move forward constantly. Why did you want to start learning the guitar? My granddad plays guitar first off. That he plays a big role in my life. This is very close to me. I love country music, so realistically, it's a lot of the time it's a man or a woman with a guitar. Most of the songs can be played on a guitar, so everything I've been listening to over the last few years has sort of led me that way. The challenge of it is so outside of my comfort zone. It's so different to anything I've ever done. I think I dabbled in it when I was very young. My parents made me, and it just wasn't the time. Whereas now it's very much my decision, my choice. It's one of the best things I've done, I must say. That the challenge of it is crazy. It's something I do almost every day, and it's hard and it's tough and it's uncomfortable and it's annoying, it's frustrating, and it's so rewarding and so good and really fulfills me. So I'm really glad I took that up, and essentially I took it up for the challenge. Do you have any tattoos? What do they mean? I do. I actually have quite a lot. I mean, if I was to actually count, probably in the region of around, let's say, 10 separate ones. I've basically got a sleeve on my leg from my knee to my ankle. I've got a pretty big piece on my back, and I've got one under each of my arms. For me, all personal, I always feel people get tattoos for one of two reasons. One being meaning, or two being art. And I accept both. I think they're great. I like to ask people about theirs, and I love hearing the stories. And sometimes I feel like people can be a little bit backwards with it, and they're a bit shying away from their tattoo, especially if it has meaning, through fear of being judged. And I feel like that's wrong. And sometimes I feel like people sometimes feel the need to make up a story to justify why they got it, when they just got it for the art or the colours or what's on there. So, a little bit less of that in society would help us all. But I think it's great. I think it's great when people just stand up and say, you know what, I just like the design and I went for it. I love the colours, I went for it. I'm like, that's cool. And if they got a great story behind it, I love hearing those. So for me personally, I've got a very family orientated sleeve on my leg. It's got some text on there. I've got my family coat of arms. I've actually got my granddad's guitar on there, which I had a long time before I started learning the guitar. Some other family members with some meanings on there, and it's coated in the American flag, as I have some very close family across the pond. Under this arm was my first one. It says "Better for It" and has a little B. I had a friend who passed when I was about 16, and the term "better for it" but that whole experience basically taught me that these things happen to you, but if you allow them to, you will be better for that experience. And having known him for the 16 years I did, I was certainly better for that. So that's what that means. I mean, the B signifies Brentford. We actually used to go and watch Brentford together, me and all my friends. So that one means a lot. I have a very gym orientated one under this forearm, which has got a barbell, and it reads, "Strength is not only achieved from a physical capacity, but through a lifetime of tests." I got that when I was around 20. Again, just through thoughts, just of how the gym has its ways and you can get stronger within the gym, but the real test is outside of the gym, and it's everyday life, and it's your job, and it's your family, and it's your relationships, and you're going to always be tested constantly throughout life. And if you shy away from that, the same as if you shy away from the gym, improvement's going to be hard to come by. And if you face up to it and face your adversity, then strength is the byproduct of that, which is really strong for me. And on my back, I've got a phoenix, which essentially is rising from the ashes. It had some heavy meaning to do with sort of the inevitability of life. You can't have change without growth. You can't have growth without change. And just like I say, accepting the inevitability of life, we're not forever. So we must live in a way every day that we can be proud of, our family can be proud of, our friends can be proud of, and that ourselves can be proud of. So that's all my tattoos. Who knows you best? Interesting question. I'm actually of the mindset that everyone knows a different side of people, and you can alter your personality around certain areas. Like I will certainly be different, I'm sure, to my football teammates than I would my family, or with my fiance than I would my best mate. And I don't think that's wrong, and I don't think that's wrong to say, and I don't think that's fake or anything like that. I just believe we allow certain things to come out around different people. But having said that, you do have core values. You are who you are. So I'd have to say, my best friends will know me best. My fiance will know me best. My parents, my family, my brother and sister would know me best. My cousins. If I had to name one person, I'd have to go with my fiance. I mean, she lives with me day in, day out. She supports me. She's there for me. I talk to her about the menial, everyday things. So let's go with my fiance. She knows me best. Who would you want to be stranded on a deserted island with? Sorry. I wouldn't really want to be stranded on a deserted island, but if I had to choose, I wonder if this means famous or not famous. Let's go famous. Probably Bear Grylls. He's going to help me out quite a lot. And if it's not a famous person, well, my fiance, because it'd be like a holiday, I guess. So why not? What's the dream? Okay, let's take this a few ways. Professionally, help as many people as possible. That is the dream. Affect as many people as possible. And help the best way I can. In life, call it standard all you want. Married, children, happy, family, life. Have the privilege of growing old would be the dream. Always striving and always getting better and trying to improve. another dream, as I mentioned earlier, would be cage diving with great white sharks. Massive dream of mine. I'd say those three pretty much covers that question, I'd say. What do you think halts people's progress? Again, vague question, but I guess as I'm at a gym, I'm guessing that is leaning towards the fitness side, but I feel like I'll delve into both sides. I think straight off the bat, I'd say people's expectations really affect their outcomes. So they're either expecting way too much, potentially expecting way too less, and it doesn't result well for them. And I feel that the process is where the magic is, and I can't say it any better. I can show you a picture from day one and 12 weeks later, and it's like, wow, that's amazing. The magic is not on day one or on week 12. The magic is in between. It's the day in, day out. It's the consistency. So people potentially must lack the consistency, and that comes along with discipline. So if we're talking fitness goals, what halts people? Probably their view of their self. So if they've got quite a low self-esteem, they don't think they deserve to get better. I think that's massive. I see that so often. It's so saddening to see. And one of the biggest parts of my job is really lifting people up and actually letting them realize, no, you're worthy of this, and you can do this, and you're capable of this, just as every other human that's around you is capable of anything they want to achieve. If they want it bad enough, and if they're disciplined enough to do it, and if they are consistent enough with what they with their aims that are going to get them to their goals. And I suppose the other side of that would be people's progress in life. I think we struggle to look past the negatives of life. I mean, they're there, but I feel like as a society we're so bad at noticing the positives. So we worry so much about if it's going to rain, and if it's going to be cold, and if there's going to be traffic, and is my boss going to shout at me today, and is this going to happen? But we don't take advantage and don't acknowledge the times in equal amounts as when it's not raining, and my boss was actually quite pleasant today, and I had a good day today. I think people are so much more likely to be like, oh, I've had an awful day. It's been rubbish. My boss wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. My lunch was rubbish. I dropped this. I did that. And focus on those things as opposed to thinking, oh, that meeting I was worried about actually went really well. Oh, my boss actually told me I'd done well today. And I actually had a great commute into work, and it went better than I thought. I feel like those things are really halting people's everyday mood. And they can definitely improve on that if they start to notice the upside of things. I talk to people a lot about a downward spiral, and it happens on a fitness goal and in life. If you turn up to work and you're late because there was traffic, and then you drop your water on your way in and you smash your bottle, and then you get to your desk and someone says you're late for a meeting, and you go into the meeting and you're not prepared, and then you didn't get much of a lunch, and when you did, all of these things happen, and oh, what a rubbish day, which turns into a week, and you get into a rut. Well, there's an opposite side to that, and there is an upward spiral where you start to turn things around, and you say, okay, I'm gonna lose some weight, for example. Okay, how do I do that? I need to sort out a diet. I need to sort out a fitness plan. I need to limit my amount of nights out in the next few weeks. So you put these things in place, and then you wake up one day and you eat your breakfast, and you come to work and you get on with your work, and then you eat your lunch that you've planned to, and then you take a walk on lunch. And all of a sudden, this starts to creep in and starts improving. And then your friend rings you from 2 weeks out of the blue and asks you how you are, and that makes you feel a little bit better. And then you score a date. I don't know. These things can happen if we notice them, because we're very, very good at noticing the bad side of things and these downward spirals. But if we actually paid a little bit of attention to how things can improve, I feel like that would really improve people's day-to-day lives. And that is exactly where the happiness is. People think about the weekend or their next holiday. Well, it's actually in the menial things. It's kissing your partner goodbye in the morning. It's having a good session. It's seeing friends. These are the things that make us happy, like wholly happy. If you're on holiday, you're happy for a week, 2 weeks, and then what? For the other 50 weeks, you're not happy? We must start paying more attention to our day-to-day occurrences and improving those, and they will improve the entire picture. Just a couple more. What are your thoughts on mental health? That's a massive question. And actually a landmine, like a minefield, and people probably don't want to tackle that. I think the easiest way I can say on that, because it's the second part to that question, do you take care of it yourself? So my thoughts on mental health is it's a very, very real issue today. I respect that issue and how big of an issue it is for people that really do suffer with it. I see it a lot within some of my clients and even friends and family members. So I do my best. I'm very patient as much as I can be with people. And I think, like I say, everyone's different. I think we should probably talk more about it. I think that would help, because I think it's a bit of a buzzword. And I don't think it's over talked about at all. I think it's very under talked about even today. I think it should be discussed more. And I do take care of it myself. I'm a human. I have a mind. I have a mental state. Therefore, I have mental health. I certainly take care of it by going to the gym, by spending time with loved ones, by learning to play the guitar, taking on challenges. I feel like that keeps me grounded. I feel like that keeps me striving for something. Just looking for challenge in everyday life and trying to not be too comfortable, I think helps me personally with my mental health, and just remaining very aware of it every day. Who are your inspirations? This is a pretty easy one. My dad being one for sure. He's definitely a man I aspire to be like when I'm older, a father who I aspire to be like when I'm older. In terms of other people, Philip Gonsalves, in terms of professional, he's always been a few years and a few steps ahead of me. I'm constantly chasing him. He's like just everything about him. He runs Force of Fuel. They sell supplements. He also does PT out in Egham. So shout out to him. I mean, he's great. Always followed his stuff. And I'd say famous people, Eric Thomas. I love listening to his things. And finally, Jordan Peterson. He articulates an argument better than anyone I've ever heard almost. So I love listening to his stuff. One final one. Your views on the game changers and plant-based diet. Okay, my views on a plant-based diet would be, if it works for you, great, go for it. Depending on your goals, which is going to differ between person to person to person. If it makes you happy, go for it. If you can sustain it, go for it. If you understand why you're doing it, amazing. If you don't, maybe look into it. I personally lean towards a meat and plant-based diet. I think there should be a mixture of the two. Certainly a happy medium would be, I would say, somewhere near the perfect outcome if that exists. Certainly it doesn't, and we would never have studies to show that, unfortunately, but there are certainly upsides to it, downsides to it, upsides to eating meat, downsides to eating meat. The Game Changers as a program, I thought was certainly interesting, thought-provoking. I think some of the science was questionable. And I think they had a real good platform there to really bring some attention to everyone and say that this can be achieved through a plant-based diet. This can be achieved through a mixture of a plant and meat-based diet, animal product diet, I should say. Whereas I feel like they lent way too far towards a plant-based diet and just took the back legs off it, and it didn't sit well with me. I don't think a plant-based diet alone is the way to go. I personally think it should be a mixture, some meats in there. I'm not saying plant-based diet is wrong. I'm just saying that some meat and plenty of plants would give a great healthy diet. Another buzzword. But aside from that I mean, that could be another topic for another time, the game changers and plant-based diets, because I know that's something people certainly are interested in these days. Right, so that is all the questions we've got. I hope I've answered them for you the way that you wanted me to, or you expected. Some answers you might have, maybe didn't. If you do have any further questions, please comment, DM me. I'd say call me, but you don't have my number, so we're not going to do that. In future, we're looking to get some guests on. I'm going to have people come in. We're going to sit down. We'll have these conversations about everyday life, maybe some questions you think you'd like to see answered by these certain people. And we're going to cover all topics like I've talked about today, from diets to training to everyday life to absolutely anything, tattoos and mental health and diets. Whatever you want to see, I will bring to you. I will answer for you as honestly as I can. And if you would like to be on the podcast, please reach out to me, DM me, and we can certainly talk and potentially set that up. I want to thank you for listening, watching, whichever one you're doing. I appreciate the help, the support, and I hope to see you down here soon. And this will be on Spotify and on YouTube, so you're probably either listening or watching on one of those. Could be others, but keep an eye out for that. Plenty more to come. And again, just a big thanks.